Hey everyone, and welcome to my craft room. Just setting up my iPad, so bear with me. Bit exciting the last few days, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. Here we go. Just make sure that my volume is working. Last few days. Yep, so it looks like it is. It's my own voice there. Okay, I'll just close my door and we'll get started. Yes, as I said, very exciting few days this weekend. I was in Sydney with a whole group of wonderful demonstrators from around Australia and across the world, and we got to do some crafting, and we got to see the wonderful new mini catalogue, which if you've been with Stamping Up for a while you realise is what we used to call the Occasions catalogue. Oh, hello, I can see everyone coming on. Hi Donna, hi Margie, hi Lisa, hi Hannah. Nice to see everyone. Again, I've just left Margie and Donna and Lisa in Sydney, so hi guys again. Nice to know I've got the faces to match the names now. Anyway, so as I say, anyone who doesn't know, we've got the wonderful new mini catalogue coming out, as I said, which used to be, has replaced the Occasions catalogue, and my favouriteest time of year, because it's when I joined Stamping Up a few years ago, it's Celebration 2020. So we've also got the Celebration catalogue as well. So anyone who hasn't been with or seen Stamping Up before and doesn't know about Celebration, we have some great bonus products in here. And for every $90 you spend, you get to pick, or every multiple of $90 you get to pick something out of this wonderful catalogue. And I'd love to be able to show you the inside, but unfortunately at the moment this is a sneak peek and I can't show you the inside yet. But if you watch till the end of the video, there would be a way for you to have a look at this and the mini catalogue sooner than the normal customers, and I'll show you or tell you how you can do that. Mine got a bit crumpled in my baggage getting back from Sydney, and you can tell I've already got my little tags happening as to what I want to buy. I've already ordered some of these products as a bonus of going to Sydney, and we will then, I'll be able to show you those products over the next couple of weeks. Anyway, so the one I'm showing you today is something I was lucky enough to pick up as a bonus in Sydney as a pre-release, and I think you're going to agree that it's a beautiful set, and I think we're going to be able to use it lots and lots and lots. Oh, hey Roz, thanks for joining me all the way from Florida. Hope everything's really good for you guys over there. Anyway, so let's get to some crafting. And I'll talk more about the catalogues later. So what I was fortunate enough to pick up in Sydney is the beautiful Timeless Tulips stamp set. As you can see, we've got some beautiful tulips in various stages of bloom, some leaves, some stems, and what I think the nicest thing about this set is the sentiments. Basically, you've got the whole year covered. You've got Happy Birthday, you've got Happy Mother's Day, you've got Get Well Soon, which I actually struggle to find that in a lot of stamp sets, so Get Well Soon's very, very handy. We've got Happy Easter, Happy Spring. That's not really relevant for Australia because spring isn't at Easter, isn't it spring in Australia, but northern suburbs, northern hemisphere, if you've got friends there you can use that. And some lovely inside ones as well. May the memories of yesterday comfort you today. So that's sort of like a sympathy card there. And what a beautiful difference a single life makes. So that's just, you say that to anyone at any time, that's beautiful. Okay, so the great thing about this set is that it comes in a bundle with a tulip maker punch. So that is an absolute bonus. It's an absolute great thing. It's great for beginners if you haven't stamped before and you haven't got all the equipment. The stamp set and the punch, and you're ready to go. You can basically make some wonderful cards without all the die cutting and fussy cutting that we do. So I'm using the punch in a couple of ways. So hang around and I'll show you what I've come up with. Okay, so I'm going to make 3 cards today. Well, actually I'm going to make 2 cards today. I'm going to show you a third. This one is an adaptation of the card we made as a make and take at On Stage this weekend. I've changed the colours a little bit. And as I said on my post, my mother grows a tulip very similar colour to this, a very velvety one, in her garden in the springtime. So I've gone old olive, card base, and a rich raspberry tulip, and obviously with the old olive leaves and some of the twine there as well. And inside I've just popped some flowers. So we're going to make this one, and so we'll get going with that. And I'll show you the others as we go. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have a old olive card base, which I have cut as a portrait stamp, portrait card base. So we've got it 11.5 inches long by 4 1/8 inch wide, scored at 5 3/4, so that you've got a lengthwise card like that. So we'll just pop that aside for the moment. Then I've got actually I'll bring it in so I'll show you the next panel. The next panel I have is not that one. The next panel I have is the exact same length of our card base, but it's cut a little bit more, bit narrower. It's actually 3.5 inches wide and 5 3/4 inches long. So you get this nice thick band of old olive down either side. And obviously this one is the one that I've cut for the inside, so we don't need that one straight away. We will have that one. Plus I've got some other scraps of Whisper White, which I'm going to need for our stamping and cutting. Okay, so the original one, I'm going to change it slightly. I'm going to take the tulips up a bit further. I don't think I went quite high enough with these small tulips, so we'll go up a little bit higher with those. Stamp set, here we go. Okay, as I said, the stamp set has the 3 tulips in their various forms of bloom. This little one's sort of like a tiny little one that's all closed up. This one seems a little bit wider, and then we've got the large one as well. So I'm going to start with this middle one, and that's the one I've used in the background. And I'm just going to stamp that straight on to our piece of Whisper White. So I'm using rich raspberry, and I have used it full strength, but if you find rich raspberry a tiny bit overpowering, I'd suggest you stamp it off. I'll just show you on my grid paper, just so if you haven't seen it. That's full strength rich raspberry, and that's stamped off once. So I'm going to go with the full strength there on my card. Okay, who else has joined us? Jackie, hi, from Queensland. Hey, great to have you join me. And Heidi, thanks for coming along. Anyway, so just trying to be as natural as possible with the positioning of your flowers. You know, when you see flowers in a field, they're all sort of, you know, pointing in slightly different directions. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. And as I said, I'm going to go up slightly higher than I did on my sample. So I'm going to go the first one sort of looking off to the left, if a flower can look. The second one sort of central and a little bit higher than the other one. And my natural tendency would be to have that one go that way, because I'm a bit weird when it comes to symmetry, but just to go against my instinct a little bit, I'm going to have that one sort of looking in slightly as well. I just think it's a little bit more natural than my natural tendency to go everything, you know, like mirror images. Okay, so we've got those first 3, and then we're going to pop in some stems. So in the set you get 2 stems. You get a pretty much straight stem and a slightly curvy stem. So I'm going to use the straight one to start with, and I've got my old olive ink. Yes, Hannah, it was wonderful. Yes, we would love to see you next time. Well, they've changed the format slightly, so I'm thinking I think in May they're going to have half-day sessions, but they're going to have them more locally. Donna can probably remind me if I'm wrong, because I think she's online. Yeah, so half-day ones, which are sort of more, I think more business-focused, but we get to look at the new catalogue, which would be great. So I'm hoping that they either have one in Tassie or Melbourne, in which case I'll come and I'm sure we can catch up then. November is going to be similar, the same sort of one-day format as we've just been to. So anyway, so back to stamping. I'm just going to pop my stems there, just 1 and 2, just sort of trying to follow what you think the natural line of those tulips would be, given the orientation that you've sort of popped them on the card. Okay, so then we'll do some leaves. Sorry, I'm just getting ahead of myself a little bit. We'll do some leaves while we've got our old olive open. And there's actually 3 leaves in the set. There's this one that's sort of a thicker S-shaped leaf, and there's a couple of thinner ones as well. This is actually the one that goes with the punch. You'll notice the punch has a leaf in it. Actually, what I might do, just to show you, I might use one of these just to mix it up a little bit, because we are going to see that other one when I punch these things out. So I'll just pop this one on a skinny little block, and I'll use this one in the old olive on our tulips. So they actually have 2. You can turn them around to give them the proper orientation, so that they don't look, so they look a bit more natural. And so if you just turn it around, you'll get sort of a left-hand leaf and a right-hand leaf, which is really sort of quite good. Sometimes they look a bit unnatural when you've only got one natural way of doing it. Just trying to follow what I did with the other one. And there. Yes, I was really pleased when I saw the sentiments that they had with this stamp set. As I say, there's a Mother's Day one, there's a Get Well Soon one. They're really, 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 really useful. So I reckon you can use this one all year round. Okay, so let's do our big tulip, which is the one that I'm going to use the punch. So we'll get to see the punch in action. Now, you can see with the punch that it has the tulip and the leaf, and they're very close together. I mean, you can see that, very close together. So I did notice it on stage that people who stamped either their tulips or their leaves too close together were having trouble, because they would stamp the tulip next to it, and then it would get cut by that leaf by accident. So if you can visualise what I mean there. So what I've done is I've bought, for this one, I bought my Stamparatus into the picture. And I have used like a little stencil here. So basically what I did, I just got a piece of cardstock that's just, it's a very vanilla, but it doesn't matter what colour you use. And I stamped it out once, so you can see there. I'll just take that out. Stamped it out, punched it out, so that you got the orientation and the positioning of your 2 cuts on the paper as like a negative. Pop that in my Stamparatus, and then line up. I'll grab them out of the stamp set. Line up the 2, the leaf and the large tulip, which are actually just blocked up. So line them up with the holes in the paper, like that, and then you can stamp them and know that you're not going to lose half of what you've stamped. So I'll just check, I'll ink them up briefly and stamp and make sure I've got those in the, oh, nearly dropped it, make sure I've got them in the right positions. Yeah, actually that one might be a little bit high. I'll just do the leaf again. I had it a little bit low, I think. Just position that again. Cool. Okay, so then you can basically get rid of that, because all you need to know now is that you're going to get your paper and position them roughly over there, and then you'll be able to get them in the right sort of orientation to each other, so you don't waste a lot. So with this one, I'm going to need 1 tulip where the leaf and the flower are in the rich raspberry, because I'm actually going to use the leaf as a sort of an additional petal. So I need 1 where the leaf is also in rich raspberry. So what you'll see now is I'll be able to chuck that in the punch, and it punches out without wasting too much paper and without ruining your next image. There we go. So I've got that there. So what I need now is for this particular card, you could do more of them like that. You could do all of the tulips with the extra petal, but I'm only going to use one. And this is slightly different to how I did it before, so just bear with me. I actually need now only 2 flowers. So I'm just going to ink up the flower in rich raspberry. And without making too much mess, hopefully, I'm going to ink up the leaf. Should have probably cleaned it off before I inked up the flower. I'm going to do the leaf in Old Olive. You could do it separately, of course. Do the flower first, and then do the leaf second. But I'm trying to be a bit of a smarty, so we'll see how it comes off. Might be a unwise thing to do on a live video, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. As I said, you could do it separately. I'm just being a smarty. And anyone who just spent a few days with me realises that that's how I tend to be. Okay, that's worked out okay. I'm happy with that. So I've got my leaf and my tulip, and I can cut them out without too much issue. She says, struggling to get it in position. So I've got another tulip and a green leaf, and I'll have room on that piece of paper for one more go. Just position that again, hopefully. Yep. My rich raspberry flower, tulip. Oh. It'd be easier actually if you used ink dots. That would be a much easier way of getting this if you're doing this way. But I don't have any made up at the minute for these colours, so I'm just playing it by ear. So one more. Might do the flower again, the tulip again. Didn't quite get the coverage I want. Cool, that's better. Okay, so this one I can, as I say, cut it out. I'm going to need one more leaf because I did use 3 leaves on the card. So I can just do him, just take him off the block and just do him in a spare space on this paper. Just take him off there. Get some Old Olive on there. And stamp one more leaf. And just bring that in the side, and I can stamp that, punch that out. There we go. So I've got my 3 tulips and my 3 leaves that I need for my card. I'll just pop that aside for the moment. Okay, so what with the one here, the tulip that we made with the rich raspberry petal, I'm just going to pop that up on dimensionals, so to give it a bit of a 3D sort of look about it. Probably have to be smaller dimensionals, just bear with me. Yes, the next card I did, Margie's mentioned fussy cutting, which we called the F word at On Stage, didn't we, Margie? Yes, you will have to fussy cut your tulips. One of the ones I did, the second card I did, I fussy cutted don't know if that's the proper term, I fussy cut 5 of the little ones, so I'm not going to force you all to look at me, watch me doing that, so I'm just going to show you it rather than actually do that one. So here we go. Actually, I've put that a little bit low, bear with me. I've set up this extra leaf so that it gives the flower a little bit more of a 3D effect with that sort of higher leaf there. So not overly necessary, but I just wanted to give it a little bit of something different. That's going to be my middle one. Here we go again with our symmetry, Julianne. Okay, so I'm going to just position our 3 larger tulips sort of in front of the smaller ones, and again fighting the my tendency to try and make everything symmetrical. I may not be possible this time. Let's go like that, and keep in mind we have got quite a wide amount of old olive showing out, so you can actually overlap it quite a considerable amount. So I'm sort of happy with that. And then I've got to position the stems. Now this can be a bit tricky when you're using cutouts, because you want to get them in the right position. And if you're anything like me, you can never remember where you've had it when you take it away. My memory's not overly great these days. So what I do is just grab a pencil and position, sort of like work out where, you know, the natural stem to your flower would come in, move it out of the way very slightly and just pop a little pencil mark. And then that pencil mark's actually going to be underneath the flower when you actually do it, but you can be sure that it's going to point in the right direction at least. Where did I put that one? There. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to use the curly stem here just to make something a little bit different. I'm going to need to ink it all up, and I'm going to bring, what am I doing? That one's got to come in that way. So I want it sort of to be like, it's got to be the natural. I'm sort of a bit, got to come in that way. And then this one's got to sort of come in, make it come in that way just to fill in a little bit of space. And the other one has got to come in there. Okay, so you can see, I'll show you, you can see that my stems are heading in the directions of my little pencil marks. If you can remember where your things are, then that's good for you, but I'm not quite that, my memory's not that good anymore. So again, I'm going to use the leaf to give those new stems some foliage. So we'll go up here, and I like to fill in sort of like any sort of empty spaces. I don't like too many empty spaces on our cards, on my cards, so I'll fill in spaces where I think they need it. Okay. That could be okay, I think, yeah. Okay, and now we'll position our flowers in, and I'm going to put those on with dimensionals as well. She says if she can find them. Here they are. Just using big ones, and just for this I'm just going to use one each. You may want to use more if you were making it at home, but just for this demonstration I'm just going to use one. Don't know about you guys, but I go through dimensionals like they are going out of fashion, I tell you. And the room in here often looks like it's had snow on the floor with all the little hexagonal backings all over the place. Anyway, part of the trade, tools of the trade. Okay, so maybe I've left that one a little bit, just turn him a little bit in. Okay, so I've left them both over the side a bit. Hopefully I've got wide enough for the width of my cardstock there. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll grab more dimensionals, and I'll just put little ones on the back, and I'm going to put these leaves that we've done, and I'm going to sort of have them coming out from behind. This is something slightly different to the one we did on stage, where we had them all down here. but I'm going to have them coming up, poking out behind, if I can find the right places for them. Yeah, maybe one there. And another one here. Yep. And I'll have one coming up from below. Here we go. Just popping off that leaf there. Okay. Now, as I say, you'd probably use more dimensionals, but I won't overdo it right now because I'm starting to run out. Right, so we've got that. So I would have, if I hadn't used the rich raspberry, I probably would have brought in some Wink of Stella at some stage here, but as I don't know if you guys are aware, but when you put Wink of Stella on some colours, and rich raspberry seems to be one of them, I don't know, it'll do it on here, it tends to blur the colour somewhat. So I'm just doing it on that one there, and it actually takes away some of the definition, which is really nice in some cases, but I didn't really want it. I wanted to keep all those nice shades of light and dark on those tulips. Okay, so one thing, I'll stamp the sentiment. As I said, we've got some really nice sentiments. We've got the Get Well Soon one there, so I might use that again. I'm going to use the others on the other card. Find my small block. I'm going to do the sentiment in rich raspberry, so I think it's a dark enough colour that would carries it off okay. I'm going to pop that again. I don't know how, I didn't seem to go up much further, did I? I said I was going to take those up, but I didn't really take them very far. So I'll pop it in here. Just put forgive my head if you can see it. Just pop that there. Get Well Soon. I think that's lovely. Nice bunch of flowers for somebody who's feeling unwell. And then I will pop it on the card base. I'm going to put some, okay, so I'm going to get some tear and tape. I'm going to put some twine just around the bottom here, just for a bit of added interest. So I'll get my tear and tape here and just pop a couple of pieces on the lower part of the card. And I'm going to use this twine that comes with the Magnificent Magnolias duo pack. That's my last bit there. You can see it just came off the spiel. That's it. It's gone. I think I've got another one there somewhere, so I don't know if I'm going to get around very far here. Maybe twice, if that. So I'll start right at the edge with the tear and tape. Oh, wrong end. Phew, hang on. I put it at the top rather than the bottom. Okay, take two. We'll try again. That's okay. We'll put it at the bottom of the card. At least that's not as bad as my hashtag Elfie card last week that I actually popped it all upside down. That was so annoying. Anyway, the joys of live. So I'm just going to pop that on that bit of tear and tape there and wrap it round. I'm going to take it under that. Wrap it round as many times as I have. Probably twice is all I'm gonna get. Yep. Okay, if you had more you could go 3 or 4 times there, but I think that's just a nice little bit of extra detail there. Now I've started with the tear and tape, I might as well continue with it. I've got 3/4 of it done. So I'll just pop some more tear and tape there, there, and at top. And at bottom, and that's done. So I'm going to do the inside, and again I'm going to change it slightly from the original because I wasn't quite happy with that. I'm just lining this up. As you know, with the tear and tape there's not room to wiggle like with our beautiful Tombow or multi-purpose glue, but anyway, there it is. So that's the outside of our card. You could put some bling, put some jewels there if that's what you'd like, which I did on the later one, but there's the outside. Inside, I'm just going to bring the theme of the tulips in from the outside. I'm going to use the same colours, but this time, because it is the inside, I'm going to stamp off the rich raspberry. I don't want it quite as strong, so we'll count it off once, and then I'm just going to do a little bunch of tulips on the inside. There we go, and I'll give them some stems, maybe using some leaves. Two, three, and some leaves just to fill it out. I think the leaves give them a bit more depth. Got to make sure they're right way around. Which way would you go? That way. I don't like that one. I'm going to go back to my little skinny one. Where is it? Here. I'm going to go back to that one. There we go. Yeah, so we had a lovely time in Sydney. There we go, that one's finished. I won't bother putting a sentiment inside. We had a lovely time in Sydney, except I noticed on my way back at the airport, and I only took, rightly or wrongly, I only took carry-on luggage. So I had to keep to 7 kilos. And I don't think I've ever been on a plane or a flight where they've weighed your hand luggage and made you check it if it's too much. I don't think I ever have, no. I mean, of course, it's the rule, but, you know, I've never had them enforce it. But I noticed on the way from Hobart to Sydney, they actually measured everybody's hand luggage, and they did mine, and because obviously I only had some, you know, change of undies and some PJs and you know, bits and bobs, I was okay. But we got so many freebies in Sydney that I knew I was going to be over. When I got to the airport and I weighed it, and I was up to 9.5 kilos, so I basically had 2 kilos of freebies. So you should have seen me, guys. I wore 2 shirts. I put a t-shirt around my waist. I put this punch, which is really heavy, I put this in the pocket. I put my purse in my pocket, my phone bank in my pocket. I was just like some sort of weird shoplifter. So thankfully I came in at 7.3 or something, but if they'd weighed me all together with my stuff in my pockets, I wouldn't have been so lucky. Anyway, it was quite funny. I thought, well, that goes to show how many freebies you get on stage, so it's worth going. Okay, so there's our first card. So as I say, this one was based on one that we did as a make and take, and I've just changed the colours and the leaves slightly, but that's a lovely quick card using our new stamp set that will be available in January. Okay, so let's do, I'll show you the other one I did. So basically this one is the same sort of thing, except I basically turned it on its side, so it's a portrait card. I did 4 large tulips, which I used the punch to punch out, and I did 5 of the smaller ones, and I have actually fussy cut those, so you can see they're all on dimensionals as well. So basically I've just lined those up, the same old olive card base, and I've given them the right stems using that little mark with the pencil that I did before, and avoiding trying to make them look symmetrical, which is what I always try to do. And I've put some bling. These ones, I don't know if you can tell, these little jewels are our champagne jewels, which are also coming out in the mini catalogue. So yeah, they are lovely. I would never have noticed the difference between gold and champagne and copper and all those different colours that we've got, but I do now, and this champagne is really, really nice. So I won't bother doing that one because I don't want you to have to watch me fussy cut, but I think that's just a nice sort of variation on that sort of theme there. The other one I do want to do for you is what you would call an eclipse card, basically because it's got 2 layers that fit over each other. I'm just finding my cardstock. Here we go. So I've cut my cardstock for this one. I've got a Whisper White card base, usual proportions, 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, and I'm going to fold it in half. I hope I can find my, I haven't been able to find my, oh here it is, didn't look very well, my bone folder. No, I meant to take it to Sydney with me, but it didn't make it into the bag. Thanks guys, thanks Diane, thanks Lisa. It's easy to do nice things with our beautiful products, isn't it? Okay, so that's our card base. We'll just leave that. That's the Whisper White Thick, which is the best one for your white card bases. I have a layer of rich raspberry. I'm sticking to the same colours, and that's been cut 1/4 inch smaller on both sides, so that you've got a fairly large border of white showing around. And another 1/4 inch smaller, I have my another Whisper White. So it's going to be a 2-layer card, and I'm going to be doing my stamping on that one. Okay, so again, I'm going to use all 3 of the little tulips this time. I have to get the big one out of my Stamparatus. Bear with me for a second. Come here, you. Okay, so I've got the big one here. Put that on a block. And I've got the medium-sized one already blocked up. And I'll just get the little one. Pop that on the little block. So there's my 3 tulips. Again, rich raspberry. So I'm going to have these sort of off to the right-hand side of our card a little bit. So we'll just take that one, the big one, and pop that towards the top, looking slightly to the right. And then the little one, the medium one, sort of coming to the side, slightly looking to the right, like that. And our tiny baby one, who's very cute. Do a whole card just with this one. And again, symmetry takes over, and he's going to be a little bit lower, pointing to the right. There we go. I'll put in my leaves and my stems. Again in Old Olive. Okay, so I'm going to have one, so following the natural sort of direction of the flower, of the bloom, we'll have that one coming in up from there. Make sure you're stamping on a base you don't mind getting inky, because we're doing a fair bit of inkiness here. That one, I was trying to see what I did with the original. That one coming up there. It looks like I'll use the curly one, but up the other way, so I get that sort of bend coming up there. There we are. So we have some of our lovely leaves, also in green, Old Olive. We'll have that one coming up. One coming up from the bottom, and from there. I just had a visitor in my craft room. What's going on? I'm live. Oh. He's coming in to measure my card shelf. He's making me a new one, so I can't stop him because he's doing something for me. Cool. Alright there, so I've just got 3 leaves there. I didn't want to go too crazy on the leaves this time. And I'm going to do the sentiment, and for this one I'm going to do... It's very off-putting having you in here while I'm live.
Just one question.
What?
This one or this one?
Up and down like that, like it is.
Oh, up and down.
Yeah.
Ready.
Thank you. Can't discourage him from doing stuff, otherwise he stops and never starts again. Okay, so we've got Happy Mother's Day on this one, and I'm actually going to pop that down the bottom. You could pop it up there if you wanted to, but I'm going to have this one down here. Oh, get rid of that one, I can't see what I'm doing. And we'll have Happy Mother's Day again in the rich raspberry. There we go. And because it's such a dark colour, you can put it over the green and it's still very clear, so it doesn't really matter too much. So on its own, I think that's quite pretty, isn't it? It's like just a simple stamping sort of beginner's sort of card, which is really nice. Just going to sort of shake it up a little bit by cutting out. So you guys might just bear with me. I'm going to do it over here with my die cutting machine. I'm using the and I suggest you probably, if you've got it, use the magnetic plate if you've got one, and it just stops things from moving around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 sizes of the stitched squares. I'm going to pop them inside each other. So I'm going to pop the larger one sort of here, and then I'm going to pop the smaller one inside. And what that does, will cut out a central square and a frame and leave our surrounds intact. So just bear with me and I will do that off camera, because it makes everything wobble too much. And now my dogs have started barking, thinking it must be tea time because Daddy's around. Okay, so I'll just pop that through. As I say, I'm using my magnetic plate just so that I can get those squares to stay in position while I send it through. Okay, it might break your heart. It's actually cutting your beautiful flowers that you've just stamped, but I think that the final version is worth it. So make sure you have a nice clean plate at the top, because you will, if you've got anything on there, it will transfer. So I've got a couple of bits, but they'll come off. I just think they're a bit of dirt. Okay, so we've got our frame, you could call it, and our other frame, and we've got our little central bit here. So I'll just pop those aside and we'll bring in our card base. Oh, just got a little bit wet. What's the best way? I'll do that at the back. Okay, so we'll layer up with some glue. So just put our layer of rich raspberry next. Just as I say, you've got a slightly bigger border there. Probably that must be 1/8 of an inch all around. And then we'll bring in the larger, the outside frame of our card. So I'm just going to pop glue all the way around there. And because you've actually got a big hole in it, I'll just put some little bits of glue just close to the frame, just so it sticks down. You don't want it sort of gaping and flopping about. So I'll pop that one in there. There we go. And then what I've done is I will then bring in the inner little square and just glue that up and position it as best you can in the centre. Now I have seen these cards where they basically left that as is, just basically left the gap, sort of like a floating frame card that leaves a slight gap there, and I think that's not too bad itself, to be honest. You could leave that as it is, but I'm going to bring in the frame that we cut out. Would hate to waste it. I'm going to pop some dimensionals on there. The small dimensionals fit perfectly if you've got it even all the way around, but you can always cut them in half if you've gone a little bit skinny anywhere. Pop that there and there. And then I'll pop 4 in the sides as well, but I will cut them just so that, because really it's just just giving it a bit of height. Now I've got one more stamp set that I scored in Sydney at the weekend to show you. But if you fall in love with these, as I say, there is a way you can get them sooner rather than wait till January, which is always good. Nice to have exclusive access. And that way is to join my team, the Chatty Stampers, because demonstrators can pre-order these products from December, or for the month of December. The good thing about that is we also get to earn celebration rewards while we're pre-ordering. So you can not only get the mini catalogue products, you can also get the celebration products early as well. So, and believe me, there are some mega cute things there. I've got one particularly that I ordered last night, or this morning, that I'm just can't wait to show you. It is so cute. And anyone who was on stage will probably know which little one I'm talking about. They were, there you are, I've given it away. They were just loved, just totally cheered on when they appeared on the camera. So anyway, there we go. So that's the frame put in there. So it just gives it a little bit of added interest, gives it a little bit of dimension, and takes an ordinary card and just makes it something that little bit special. On the inside, I'll do roughly the same thing that I did with the other one, but I'm going to use the little tulip this time. And again, I'm going to stamp it off because our rich raspberry is just so luscious. Oh, it's on my finger, guys. We've got a splodge. I did pretty well, huh? 2 cards and no splodge until I did that. I might cover my splodge with another tulip. And I'm just going to do leaves on this. I'm not going to bother with stems because they are just so close to the bottom. So I'm just going to bring some leaves in. I think I'll just do that. Let's see. I'm just sort of winging it a bit. So let's think of where our leaves would be. I might give it some stems now I think about it. I don't want to go over them too much. I wonder if I go over there, is that going to be... That's okay, but I will give it some stems as well. Yeah, that'll do. Cool. Okay, so that one's done. And I might leave that sentimentless as well inside just for today. Okay, so we've got our inside there and our beautiful eclipse frame at the front. Okay, so that is, what do we call it? Timeless tulips. I think every year we have a tulip one. I think last year was tranquil tulips, so these are timeless tulips. I think this is really lovely. As I said, you've got sentiments that can last you all year round. Even just a plain hello there, just for, you know, someone you're thinking of, is perfect. So anyway, I think this is a must-have for our crafters. So when you are, you know, when this comes to sale on the 3rd of January, please don't miss out. As I said, if you can't wait, join my team and get it in December. Okay, so we'll just pop those aside. Just one thing I wanted to show you that I was really fortunate to score in Sydney. We have a thing called Prize Patrol, which makes us all very excited. They give away prizes to people who've drawn random numbers in our entry packs, and I got Forever Blooms, which I think is beautiful. It's part of a bundle. I didn't get I've ordered the dies, but I haven't got them yet. It's got this beautiful spray of blossom. It looks like a sort of a cherry blossom or something. We've got some leaves, some single flowers and some buds, and some beautiful sort of mix of bold and cursive print there. So there's some beautiful sentiments there. But as soon as I saw it, I thought, wow, I recognise those flowers at least. And you'll notice that the flowers match perfectly with the flowers and the style in our Free as a Bird. So if you put them together, you can see we've got a 5-pointed sort of blossom there. So I think when I get the dies, I'm going to sort of combine these two stamp sets together and see what I can come up with. And the good thing is, when you get the dies for the Forever Blossom, I'm told that they fit some of the images here from your Free as a Bird. So, you know, you won't, once you get the dies, you won't have to fussy cut as much when you're using your Free as a Bird. So stay tuned, and I hopefully will combine both of those sets in a video really soon, probably the week after next when I get the dies, just to show them off. What else did we get? Oh, we all got something pretty special. Margie got something that made her the, if she's still on, I'm not sure, Margie Brace, who's in my team, got a stamp set that made her the envy of the table. And we were actually scheming how we could break into her room and steal it, but we didn't. We wouldn't going to be that horrible. So we all got. There was no stamp set at on stage that I don't think we all fell in love with and want. Okay, so that's all I was going to show you today. As I say, the new catalogues are coming, available to sale to customers from the 3rd of January. Celebration starts in 3rd of January, goes through to March, and the catalogue itself is for sale to customers to the 2nd of June. There'll be much more to tell you about Celebration when as the time gets closer. But I can tell you that in Celebration there is a joining offer that if you've been thinking about joining Stamping Up, this is the time, because there is a joining offer here that honestly would tempt me to leave and rejoin. Well, maybe not, but anyway, it's a really good joining offer, but I can't tell you anything more about it until we get a little bit closer, but stay tuned for that. I'll give you a last look at the cover of the catalogue. You can see there's a few hints there as to what might be inside. We've obviously got poppies, 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 poppies all over the place. But if you have a look down here, there is a cute little guy here that's a bee. So believe me, if you're into bees, you're going to be very, very happy with this catalogue. What else is there that's quite nice? There's some new DSP, you can see there, some new sentiments. Anyway, believe me, there is so much in here that you are going to have to mortgage the house again, as I will. Anyway, okay, so more news on those as time gets closer. I just wanted to show you my freebies from Sydney and show you those beautiful cards. So as usual, if you haven't got an active demonstrator and you'd like to purchase from the catalogue or have any questions, just drop me a line or send me a message through Facebook or an email, and I would be happy to get back to you with anything that you need. Okay, so that's enough for me for today. I'm back to work tomorrow, back to the grindstone after our adventures, and I will see you all guys next weekend. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.